It's time to get your geek on with Dave Gramillion.
Ah, yes. Saturday night, once again, San Antonio. Welcome here, welcome here, welcome here. I am Dave Gramillion, and welcome to Get Your Geek On, where we will talk Star Wars, we will talk Star Trek, DC, Marvel, gaming, really all things geek that have dominated this little world of ours. See, geek is not really what it was 20 or 30 years ago. Geek is in. Geek is very in. Geek is now the mainstream, and we are here to talk the latest and greatest that is geek here on 9:30 a.m. Talk Radio and 9:30 a.m. TheAnswer.com. Whether you were listening to us live on the radio dial, thank you. If you were listening to us in the future on the podcast, thank you. Please go back in time, give me the winning lottery numbers. That'd be nice. If you're listening to us streaming on the website, 9:30 a.m. TheAnswer.com, thank you for that as well. This is episode number 13, lucky 13, and tonight we're going to be breaking all sorts of ground. I am taking callers for the first time ever. God help me. Yes, it is true. On lucky number 13, I promise you that's absolutely no coincidence at all. I didn't mean for, lucky number 13 or anything. We'll be taking callers. I wanted to do it last week because traditionally I like to leave the first show of the month for the callers. I want to dedicate it to y'all. But last weekend was Labor Day, and yeah, that just didn't pan out for anybody. So what we'll try to do in the future now is I will dedicate the first show of every month to you, to the people, to the ones who make this whole thing possible. And then the rest of the month is mine to talk about as I please. Here's how this will go down. In the first half of the show, before the bottom of the hour news, I will pick a number of topics to talk about, and then you can call in and talk about them as well. Please stick to the topic that we're talking about. After the break, after the bottom of the hour news, we will make it a free-for-all. You can call in and talk about any geeky topic that's on your mind. You want to talk Rogue One? We'll talk Rogue One. You want to talk Star Trek? We'll do that. You want to talk that one episode of Doctor Who that, something just stuck in your mind? It's up to you. This show will be guided by you tonight. So, call in, have a take. Let's see what you got. All right, before I can get started, though, I got to make sure that I have everything that I need to have an efficient, geeky show. For example, do I have something to drink? So I don't want to get, tickle in my throat or anything, so I'm going to... That works. Secondly, I got to have a back scratcher because, it's just important to have. I think everybody should have a back scratcher. I really do. I may make it a requirement. I may give out like back scratchers, engraved back scratchers to guests or something. Or maybe they'll just think that's really awkward and weird. Either way, and to help keep the Minox at bay, you got to have a lightsaber with you at all times. If you're going to do a geeky show, you might as well have a lightsaber. And this is old blue. I love having old blue with me. It's autographed, it's shiny, it's blue, it's awesome. Alrighty, so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and throw out the numbers. So if you want to call in, that's fine. But keep in mind, I'm going to talk about this first topic first, and then we'll go ahead and take the callers. But if you want to go ahead and get on hold, you can do that. Our lines are open. For San Antonio residents, the number is 210-308-8867. That's 210-308-8867. For everybody else out there, you can call 1-866-308-8867. That's 1-866-308-8867. God, that's a lot of 8s and 6s in there. All right, so let's get on to our first topic. The topic you want to call in and talk about is going to be all about Star Trek.
If you see clowns, better make sure that your face is out. And if you're in the fleet, grab your uniform, cause it's future chic. All the haters know, we got photon torpedoes. Throw the Vulcan up if you're not from Romulus, and stay with me now, live long and prosperous.
Alrighty, so this was the 50th anniversary was officially celebrated. Now, we did review the franchise in its entirety a couple of weeks ago. You can listen to that on our podcast at 9:30 a.m. TheAnswer.com. But this was this week, on the 8th itself, was the official 50th anniversary. And what can you say about Star Trek and its 50th anniversary? This is the series that helped to influence Star Wars, that really brought science fiction on television back into the mainstream. I don't think we really had a show like the original series that was done on television before. It was innovative. It broke so much ground. It broke racial barriers. It broke gender barriers. It was visionary, ahead of its time. It was fantastic. I got to see the 2 pilots. If you're a Trekkie, you know that there were technically 2 pilots, with a group of Star Trek fans earlier at the Alamo Draft House today, and it's a lot of fun. It was great seeing a very, very young Bill Shatner up on the big screen, and the hokey special effects and the hokey acting and all that. It was the 60s. Come on.
You don't have to brag about that, all right? I'm just saying, you don't have to brag.
Oh, man, it was a lot of fun. And when you look at the technology that Star Trek has influenced, if you're listening on this streaming through a laptop computer or a tablet or a flip phone, Star Trek, thank you very much. Hypo sprays, which I got zapped with some of those at boot camp for the Air Force. Yeah, they have hypo sprays now. That's Star Trek, thank you. You ever have a Bluetooth headset? You know, the little thing, and you see them all the time, the little, thing sticking in your ear and you talk and people hear you and all that. Thank you, Star Trek. Google Glass. Okay, so that wasn't quite mainstream, but still it was really cool to look at. Thank you, Star Trek. GPS, universal translators, and replicators. Yes, 3D printers actually do food. Yes, I've seen 3D printed hot dogs made of organic material that you can eat. I will not say if they are, well, they'll probably be healthier than actual hot dogs.
Yeah, I was about to say, which makes it better than regular hot dogs because that's made of organic material that you can't eat.
Ooh, 3D Whataburger. That's awesome.
Oh, I also want to say I have a couple of people here in studio with me. Peter Gonzalez is sitting here on my left, and Jenny's on my right there. You can say hi. It's okay. You don't want. She's shy.
Yeah, that's okay. Mrs. Goose to you.
Well, yeah, okay. I call her the Goosette. Can we call her
That's fine.
The Goosette? That'll work. Yeah, actually, 3D printers can do a lot of things now. And again, that's thanks to Star Trek.
3D tacos.
3D breakfast tacos, 3D chimichangas.
There we go.
That'd be awesome. Coming at you in 3D because, normal food apparently doesn't do that. So CBS and Paramount came out with their epic celebration. This is 50 years. This is huge. Nobody gets to 50 years like Doctor Who does. And that's it. Nobody gets to 50 years. It's The Simpsons and South Park, as long as they've been on, they haven't hit 50 years. That's true. Both Doctor Who and Trek had a little bit of a time gap in there, but still, 50 years is 50 years.
13 movies, 29 seasons of show, an animated series, and a plethora of books and comics.
But thankfully, unlike Star Wars, they didn't have a holiday special.
Thank God.
So here's how they celebrated. All right, so you ready for the big Think Geek announcement? Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, well, there wasn't one.
Aww.
You ready for the toy line? The epic toy line?
Waiting on that.
Yeah, no, they didn't have that either.
Oh, man.
They did announce that they're going to have an actual communicator badge that's Bluetooth enabled. That's one piece.
Okay, there you go.
How about information on Star Trek Discovery? Cast, crew?
Waiting on that.
Yeah, nothing. Next movie? No. See, here's what they did. Here's what CBS and Paramount and their enduring wisdom did. They put out a YouTube video that showed only the original series, Next Generation, and the new movies. It had absolutely 0 clips from Voyager, 0 clips from DS9, 0 clips from Enterprise. Okay, I can forgive them for Enterprise.
The 4th season was awesome. Shut your mouth.
They ignored all television from 1993 to 2005.
I remember seeing that, and I was like, where's everything else? Where's, everything from Next Gen and DS9?
Voyager had the first female captain. That was a big deal, and there are no clips of Janeway, getting all pissed off at the board while sipping on coffee. Nothing. It was mind-blowing. If next spring, when Disney has the 40th anniversary of Star Wars, you really think they're just going to leave it to a half-assed YouTube video?
Oh, of course not, because I still remember when they did the 30th anniversary, when they went all out for that. Even though it was still Lucasfilm owned, they had the History Channel specials. They had the Rose Bowl parade, with all the 501st and Rebel Legion guys out there. They had the stamps that came out.
I honestly think that Disney, for the 40th anniversary, will probably have drones raining Star Wars toys from the sky.
I'll be waiting for that.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. It's Disney; they can do anything.
I just hope they let everybody give everybody a heads up, so that way they can go for cover, because that would hurt. There'd be lawsuits involved.
So, life-size AT-ATs walking down 281.
Yeah, I could totally see that happening. And so for the 50th anniversary of Star Trek, we get a a YouTube video that ignores about half the franchise. I mean, come on. It's shameful. It is downright shameful.
It was lame because I still remember a couple years ago when they had Superman's 75th anniversary. I mean, DC put out a great video, but it encompassed everything from the comics to the Fleischer years to the TV series in the 50s, and with Christopher Reeve and everything else, everything up until for Man of Steel.
I'm going to call my shot right now. Disney should buy Star Trek. Serious. Come on.
Why not?
Because CBS and Paramount are screwing this up. They screwed up Star Trek Beyond's announcement and release. They screwed up Star Trek Discovery already. They're screwing up the 50th anniversary thing. Disney would never let this slide. CBS and Paramount treat this like, 50 years. Well, that's nice.
No, I mean, 50 years is a milestone.
It's enormous, and it only happens once.
Because even years ago, when Batman even had its anniversary, I mean, we had the Keaton and Nicholson movie. It was what it was, but it was great from when we saw it. But even then, I mean, there were still comic books and everything that was.
Whoa! What do you mean great for what it was?
Well, I mean, it was good, but then again, seeing as how things have progressed since then,
Can we throw him out of the building?
No, don't.
Can we call security?
No, don't.
Hey, we have a segment coming up at the end of the show. Just
Sarlacc pit,
save it for that.
What I'm saying though is, I mean, at least Ben Affleck can actually turn his head, unlike Keaton's costume. It was good, it was good, but the thing is it's got this. Yeah, it's progressed. It's gotten better.
Let's get security on the phone here.
Okay.
Get them up here.
Nice knowing everybody.
So if you want to talk Star Trek.
If only you had worn a red shirt, it may have gone better for you.
Oh, no. The Goosette is wearing red.
But she has a force field, so.
Oh, okay, that's true. It's called the Force Field of Awesomeness.
Nice knowing everybody.
So if you want to talk Star Trek, let's go ahead and give out the number again here. For San Antonio residents, it is 210-308-8867. For everyone else, it's 1-866-308-8867. Taking all callers regarding Star Trek. And it doesn't have to be about how stupid Paramount and CBS is being. Although you can certainly talk about how stupid CBS and Paramount are being. You can talk about your favorite episode, your favorite movie, your favorite... you can even, if you want to talk Discovery, you want to talk about the JJ movies, knock yourself out.
You talk Tribbles.
So when Star Trek decided to get preachy, it didn't do it subtly. Let This Be Our Last Battlefield is one. They did an episode on the 5th season of TNG. They did Voyager and DS9 sort of stayed away from it. But then they did an episode of Enterprise that once they started going there, I'm like, oh, I see what you're doing here. Subtlety? Come on, guys.
Yeah, Star Trek is not known. Well, I mean, you can only do so much in a 42-minute episode plus commercials. And subtlety, yeah, war, bad. Peace, good. Starfleet, good. Klingons, bad.
Hey, Klingons were cool. They still are.
That's true, but it's cool to be bad, or it's bad to be cool, or something like
along
that.
Those lines.
Except to be square.
That it is. Now, my favorite Next Gen episode is it's either The Inner Light, which that's an easy one. I mean, everyone loves The Inner Light. Of course, everyone, if you're like me, you're kind of grabbing for the tissues at the end of it.
Patrick Stewart was robbed from an Emmy.
Absolutely, he was. When he clutches the flute at the end, and I was, oh my God! All right, or I know again, I'm going out on a limb here. I'm taking a risk. Best of Both Worlds. Mm-hmm. The Best of Both Worlds was better than First Contact, the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, and
I thought you were going to say Code of Honor.
No, I put the.
Or where no one has gone before.
Whoa, we're talking Next Gen. Let's.
Yeah, that where no one has gone before was a Next Gen episode.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking about because
where no man has gone before.
That was the original
about.
series. Yeah. I just saw that a little while ago. So that was Gary Mitchell, wonderful. That was actually a good character, man. I wish that there was a rumor that he was going to be the villain in Star Trek Into Darkness. And
the IDW prevented that because they retold where no man has gone before with the Pine cast, with the J.J. Abrams cast in a comic. It was really good. And the IDW comics for Star Trek with the new cast are really good. They retell a lot of stories, but they do a lot of original stuff
So,
too.
Goose, what's your favorite episode?
I was a Deep Space Nine guy.
Okay.
That was my favorite series. So The Ray of the Warrior is really good. What You Leave Behind is really good. Basically, when you get into the back half of Season 5, to the rest of the show was the best that show was.
That's true.
Especially when you get to season 6, the 6-part arc of them retaking the station.
Yes.
And you are cordially invited. The marriage of Worf and Dax.
Yeah, that was
that was a great
her
episode.
bachelorette party was epic. That was fantastic.
Now, I will say, The Magnificent Ferengi was a good episode for what it was. However, that is not the episode to introduce the show with.
New.
Because I had a friend of mine who had been bugging for years to watch this show. And that was the first episode they ever watched. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Okay, favorite movie not... Let's go around the table here real quick. Favorite movie not called Wrath of Khan.
Oh, darn it.
It's too easy to say Wrath of Khan.
Peter, watch his face. Okay. I wish we had Facebook Live for this.
Oh, God, you're not going to say it.
Star Trek Insurrection.
No!
Okay.
And that was for the reaction. It's actually First Contact. All right. I love First Contact with a passion.
Well, in terms of favorite movie, of course, it's not, obviously everybody says 2, but I still have to see Undiscovered Country because it was a good wrap-up.
That was the good passing of the torch movie.
Exactly. And just the way how everybody had, all the cast had something to do. Nobody was in the background.
You mean like every Next Generation movie ever made?
Pretty much. Yeah, I'm sorry. But the effects were great. And it was just a great way to wrap up the series.
And the plot was actually pretty good, too. The twist about the cloak... I'm sorry, spoilers. Oh, my God, spoilers. About the cloak bird of prey, I thought it was really well done, and how they had to piece together how it happened and the memory banks and all that. And I thought it was a well-done movie.
I thought that explosion worked really well in Generations, too.
Yes, it did. I love how they borrow the effect. How cheap can you be to copy an effect from the previous movie? Good God. And I'm sorry, how does Riker... You're in the flagship... Okay.
We had that discussion already.
I know. You're in the Federation flagship. How do you get defeated by a bird of prey? Okay.
But by the same token, they blew it up, too.
You maniacs. You blew it up. Oh, gracious. Okay. Well, how much time do we have? We got a little bit of time. Let's go ahead and move on. Let's get off of Star Trek here for a little bit. 50th anniversary, though. Congrats to Star Trek for all that. Before I forget, I can't believe I actually walked right over this in the notes. 9/11's tomorrow. 15th anniversary for that. And it's not exactly, good air to have dead air for a moment of silence. But I do want people to have a little remembrance tomorrow. This time, 15 years ago, wow, what a different country we were then.
Yeah, everybody always remembers where they were and what they were doing when that happened.
How about what everyone remembers doing, 15 years before on the 10th? Mm-hmm. What a different world it was on the 10th compared to the 11th. So just keep in mind for tomorrow, just a little remembrance in your own way. Post on Facebook or Twitter if you want, or just sit for a minute and just think. That's fine too. But have some type of remembrance for 9/11 tomorrow. Well, there's no good segue there, so let's just go ahead and start talking about some DC news.
I want to leap over buildings, want to fly over the shores, save the people from the villains, catch the crooks who rob the stores.
Okay, so this was kind of interesting. This came out of the Wall Street Journal. And I'm just going to read this and let people just react to it on their own here. Recognizing fan complaints about Henry Cavill's Superman never smiling and Ben Affleck's Batman killing people, the idea going forward is that DC will start changing things up tonally regarding the tone of their movies. And that begins with the huge blockbuster that is currently in the midst of production, which is Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Did any of the Keaton villains come out of that alive?
Well,
except for Catwoman? No. Penguin died. Joker died.
Max Schreck. Christopher Walken, did he live? I think
he may have, but he wasn't the primary villain.
He was a villain.
Are we talking the Burton movies?
Yeah, we're talking the two Burton movies. Nobody came out of that alive, except for Catwoman.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, especially in Batman Returns, there were some Batman-caused deaths in there. The the Ice Princess.
Did Riddler and Two-Face come out of Batman Forever alive?
Riddler was institutionalized.
Did.
Yeah, but did Two-Face come out of that alive?
No, he went splat at the end of the... that one.
But
we won't get into the Schumacher Batman and
no,
Robin.
no.
I'm sorry. What that movie was made? I heard rumors about it.
Yeah,
but,
you don't. Yeah, it's
moving
right along.
They do make a drink that'll make you forget all about that. It's called bleach, and I recommend a large dose of that one.
Or lots of tequila.
That'll work too.
Yeah.
Many margaritas. Recognizing, the story goes on to say, recognizing the negative response received by the grim Batman Superman Dawn of Justice, Snyder and screenwriter Chris Terrio worked to change up the pacing of their 2017 blockbuster in order to try and get the more upbeat material faster. As a result of bad reviews and bad word of mouth, the franchise will be changing course going forward. As DC Comics president and chief creative officer.
How do I get that job?
That's a guy who made up his own title. Let's be serious about that. Jeff Johns believes that a misinterpretation of the comic book company's characters on the studio's behalf has ill-defined the key heroes on the big screen recently. Okay, so I love that little line in there. A misconception of the comic book company's characters on the studio's behalf. Oh, okay. So the studio screwed up comic book characters is basically what he's saying.
I'm sorry. Did you see Batman and Robin?
Moving on.
Did you see Superman Returns?
Not after all that bleach I drank.
Oh God, where Superman's the stalker. That was
the studio misrepresented the characters on the silver screen.
Mistakenly in the past, I think the studio has said, this is what John said, oh, DC films are gritty and dark, that's what makes them different. They couldn't be more wrong. It's a hopeful and optimistic view of life. Even Batman had a glimmer of that in him. If he didn't think he'd make tomorrow better, he would stop.
He's talking about the comics, not the movies.
Yeah, I would kind of hope so there, because DC films are gritty and dark, and that is what makes them different.
3 words: Batman animated series. That was it was dark, but at the same time, it was great. But at the same time, all of Batman in general has always been a dark and gritty character.
You know what's funny is that the perception is that DC movies are getting their ass kicked by Marvel. But they're actually making buku money at the box office. Right. Suicide Squad pulled down $87 bajillion or however much it was, but it was a huge box office success.
Don't forget also how hyped up and how I don't know what the sales figures were for Killing Joke when that came out on Blu-ray and DVD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
DC animated does really well.
Yeah.
DC live action movies, why they make big money when you compare to the budget and the marketing, that's a different issue. Not only that, I wasn't excited to see Suicide Squad. I went because, one, Goosette wanted to see it. My brother wanted to see it.
The nickname is stuck.
And I want DC to succeed with this.
Right. Absolutely.
The only way to have them have success is to go see the movie.
I agree. It's again, I don't want to say that Marvel makes better movies per se, but if you're going to rewatch, I've watched Ant-Man 85,000 times. And it's Ant-Man, for God's sake. It's not the Avengers.
Or Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's not Guardians of the Galaxy.
Or
it's not
Captain
even
America,
Iron Man.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah, it's Ant-Man. But I watched that. I'll watch that 4 times in a row before I'll watch Suicide Squad again. And I kind of like Suicide Squad after the first 45 minutes of it or so. I would rather watch... I can't believe I'm going to say it, but it's true. I would rather watch Thor 2, The Dark World, before Batman Superman again. The rewatchability, and Thor 2 had a dark tone to it. Well, I mean, Thor got his arm chopped off.
Well, the problem was with that is that Thor, the first movie, had a very light tone, so the character had hope. You didn't see hope in Man of Steel. You didn't see hope in Batman v Superman.
But I did see hope in Ant-Man. Boom. Get it? That was the character. That was her name. It's funny.
The funny thing is how everybody says that how this new Superman doesn't smile. But the thing is, when you kind of look at everything, if you want Christopher Reeve, that won't work in this day and age. I mean, it was great for the 70s when it came out. But
you don't think we can do Truth, Justice, the American Way?
We can, but at the same time, in this post 9/11 world, it would come across as kind of being maybe a little hokey, maybe.
Okay, so on October 10th on the CW,
right,
Supergirl premieres for season 2,
right,
and it's going to have Superman for the first 2 episodes, played by Tyler Hoagland. I want to see how many smiles he has in that episode. in those 2 episodes he's going to be in, and how hokey it comes across,
We're
because
gonna have
that'll
a
tell
smile
us.
count.
Good, that will tell us how much a smiling Superman in a post 9/11 world gets over.
We'll see how it goes.
All right, well,
I'm looking forward to that.
I actually want a smile count. That'd be hilarious to see. Okay.
We have to do that
All right,
on the
so
show.
coming up after the break, I want calls. I want y'all to call in. This show is for y'all. This one's for y'all. After the break, we're going to have a little bit more news to talk about, but it's any geeky topic y'all want coming up after the news here, bottom of the hour. If you missed the first half of the show, don't worry. There's always the podcast. That'll be up Monday or Tuesday, give or take, plus or minus, at 9:30 a.m. TheAnswer.com. You can find us also on iHeartRadio. You can find us on SoundCloud, which is where the podcast is. You can find us really all sorts of places. Also find us on the Facebook page, facebook.com/GYGO official. First
Hey,
half
Dave,
of the
does
show.
the show have a Twitter account?
Yes, it does. Actually, I'm just kind of working on it.
What's the where can
It
you
is
find it on Twitter?
twitter.com also /GYGO official. I want to make sure that everyone knows that this is the actual one, because there are other Get Your Geek-Ons out there, but we're the radio one, so we get the official one. All right, so we talked Star Trek and we talked some DC news as well. I want to throw out the number because this half of the show is dedicated strictly to callers. Yes, I'll have some things to talk about as well, but really it's anything you want to talk about as far as geeky goes. Star Wars, Star Trek, DC, Marvel, video gaming, you name it. Go for it.
And if you're just now tuning in, you can call it 210-308-8867 or toll free 866-308-8867.
I still love how we say toll free. That's just awesome. You think people remember what tolls were like?
Every time they go up to Austin, or every time they go from Austin to the Metroplex.
Zing. It's like I remember, night and weekend minutes, how you had to wait for 8 o'clock to roll around so you could go to your night minutes on cell phone. Anyone remember that? And how, what was it, MCI back in the day were like, oh no, we're going to do a nickel instead of a dime.
Now you know what Bruce Wayne's cell phone had.
What was
Dark
that?
Knight minutes.
Oh, bump.
Wow, and that's the last we'll hear from Goose. Thank you very much, Goose. Yay! All right, so the number, again, 210-308-8867, and for everyone else is 1-866-308-8867. We talked Star Trek, we talked some DC. There's also some more DC to talk about, and there's, let's see. Oh, and there's also a little bit of video gaming news I want to talk about as well. PlayStation Pro, they made their big announcement, and I'm not sure that I like it. I kind of like it. If you don't already have a PlayStation, I think you're going to like it, but it's a little on the disappointing side. All things considered, I suppose. I still have my virtual reality headset too, the Oculus Rift, but I'm looking forward to the PlayStation VR coming out. Virtual reality is huge and going to get bigger.
So we do have Charles from Manitoba, Canada.
Ooh, Charles from Manitoba, Canada. Man, the Great White North. Tell me, Charles, how many inches of snow are you under over there?
Nowhere near close to any snow yet. I hear that Montana got hit with some snow just the other day, though. It's kind of funny. We're hoping for a little more warm weather. I got a corn crop to get off the field.
All right, Charles, and what did you want to talk about? What's your geeky topic?
Let's go with the resurgence of Windu supposedly being alive.
Okay, let's go ahead and hang up on this guy right now. No, I'm kidding. All right, so there was a rumor back in the day that Mace Windu was alive and well. Technically, we didn't see him die in Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, my magical air quotes here. And Samuel L. Jackson came out and said, wow, wouldn't it be cool if I was alive? And the internet took that and ran with it. Samuel L. Jackson confirms that Mace Windu's alive. And that's where Lucasfilm stepped in and said, no, he's really quite dead.
He fall down and go splat.
Yes, he no doubt he hit Corbin Dallas's taxi cab somewhere on the way down,
And a few other things.
And a few other things, and well, that was
taco
that.
stands along the way.
But now this rumor's coming back, and it's driving me absolutely up the wall because it's like no matter how many times you step on the cockroach, there's another one that comes up. It's these stupid clickbait sites. God, it drives me up the wall. It drives me crazy. Charles, do you think Mace Windu's alive?
No.
Okay, well, there you
go.
go. That's
And I gotta say, though, as frustrated as you are, imagine how frustrated Pablo Hidalgo is.
yes. Pablo Hidalgo and Leland Shee in particular are two of the masterminds over at Lucasfilm. And to be honest, I think that they may actually be happy that people are just talking about it. It gives some cover for some things they may want to announce, but at the same time, it's just Mace Windu's dead. Lucasfilm says he's dead. He's dead. He's dead. He's
gone.
dead.
He's just a big pile of liquid, and I think that's part of a cheese poop he had earlier.
That's it. He's dead. That's just all there is to it. He's dead. He's buried. He's gone. But people have this fascination though with if you don't see them die, if you don't see a lightsaber through the chest, you automatically have to assume that they lived.
Well, the funny thing about that is the way I kind of looked at Mace Windu dying. I mean, and if an awesome character like Mace can get killed off, then that meant it was fair game on any Jedi at that point. And then Order 66 followed, and I thought that kind of spearheaded that.
Okay. Well, yeah. That's but this rumor. Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Charles, for calling in. We do appreciate you taking the time.
All right.
This Mace Windu thing. Oh man. Okay. All right. And we have a next caller here up on Free for All. Let's go ahead and go to Robert here in San Antonio. Robert, are you ready to get your geek on?
Oh, yeah.
All right, Robert, you want to talk Star Trek. Hit me with it.
So, long-time observer, first time on screen. So, there may have been a few random things missed from the 50th anniversary. I don't know, like what all you've noticed and what hasn't been noticed. But in celebration of the first call-in for Get Your Geek On, I went ahead and picked up some of the Star Trek 50th Anniversary Golden Anniversary Ale. And just thought you should know that that on the bottom of the pack says CBS Studios. So this was not a joint or Paramount thing put out. This was done by the Federation of Beer and Schmaltz Brewing Company.
It's an independent 50th Anniversary Golden Romulan Starfleet Federation Ale.
Party at Rob's.
Well, to be specific, the pack says Golden Anniversary Ale, the trouble with the tribbles, but whatever.
This is fantastic. Where did you get this?
At your local Specs.
I'm going to Specs.
We're out.
We're done. See you.
Good night, everybody. Live long and prosper.
Let's play the closing music. We're going to Specs.
There was a Vulcan Ale they put out.
So long as none of it is Tribble flavored.
Yeah,
But Bones, Vulcan Ale is illegal.
Vulcan Ale is legal. Oh man! So 50th Anniversary Star Trek Ale. That.
Yep.
You suppose they've been brewing it for 50 years?
No, it doesn't taste quite that great, but it tastes like it came out of a replicator. It's not the good stuff like Picard has under his desk.
That's not Earl Grey tea.
No,
Is it green?
Not at all.
Is it? Yeah, it's not green in color by any chance.
It's a golden ale as advertised, actually.
Okay. All right, Robert, thanks for calling in. I appreciate you taking the time.
You too.
50th Anniversary Golden Ale at Specs. I'd never heard of this. I wonder if it's, I assume it's a nationwide thing, but.
Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not an AA counselor.
Yeah, no kidding. We gotta Google this.
Not yet, anyway.
We got to Google this sucker. All right, so once again, let me give out the numbers here. 210-308-8867 for y'all locals. And for everyone else, it's 1-866-308-8867. We're still taking calls here. I'll take calls as long as I can to keep the show rolling along here. Something I want to bring up real quick is Mel Gibson is back in the news. Haven't heard from Mel in a while, which is only a good thing. But Mel Gibson has lashed out at Batman Superman. And, of course, Mel is really known for his subtlety. He's really known for his well-thought-out, well-reasoned sort of diatribes. And, yeah, he called, let's just get right to it. He said that Batman Superman is a piece of yeah, he said, quote, if you're spending outrageous amounts of money, $180 million or more, I don't know how you make it back after the tax man gets you, after you give half to the exhibitors. What did they spend on Batman Superman that they would actually admit to? And it's a piece of, So basically it all comes down to money for Gibson. He sees, people spending 180, 200, or in Suicide Squad's case, $250 million. These immense price tags. And he's not happy with the amount that's costing to produce, considering that what came out of Batman Superman for that amount of money was, well, yeah, it was certainly about, yeah, it was.
I think he's just not happy that Warner Brothers isn't spending money for another Lethal Weapon movie.
Lethal Weapon 8, the Ocho.
Yeah.
Fox is doing a Lethal Weapon series.
I heard about that. That's no bueno. I mean, look, I love the 80s, and I miss the 80s as much as the next person, but we're getting way too much out of the 80s again.
Well, come on, Stranger Things was great.
Okay, that's true.
There you go.
Fair point. Fair point. Now I want some Eggo waffles now.
I want to play Dungeons and Dragons now.
Some Eggo waffles with some golden anniversary ale, which we were able to pull up here. Schmaltz Brewing celebrates the 50th anniversary of Star Trek with 2 collector's edition beer releases, debuting at San Diego Comic-Con, Star Trek Las Vegas, and Mission New York. That's where it debuted at, but they have 2. I got to run to Specs. I don't have a choice now.
Are they open after midnight?
Probably not. I don't think you can, because you can't sell alcohol on a Sunday, I don't think.
All right, we hit it up first thing in the morning.
Hey, there we go. Well,
tomorrow's Sunday.
Yeah, maybe Sunday. So.
Monday.
There we go, Monday. So I want to know, is Mel Gibson right? I know that's kind of an odd question to ask, but all things considered, with how much money there, I mean, think about it. These are $200 million movies these studios are spending. And maybe they get their money back, maybe they don't, but at the same time, look what you get for the money. And I think that's where Mel Gibson, I think that's his gripe. I think that's his beef. So you can call in on this if you want to. It is still free for all, so if you don't want to talk about Mel Gibson, I don't blame you. You can talk about anything you like here at 210-308-8867, 1-866-308-8867. Peter, Mel Gibson right?
Well, maybe 20 years ago when he was still, something to talk about. But, I mean, aside from, what else has he done lately?
He actually hasn't done anything in, I kid you not, I think 2005 was the last movie he directed.
Yeah. I mean, Braveheart, which was still great, and it's,
Well, he did, he directed Apocalypto, I think.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a weird movie. Was it The Patriot? Was like bad. 2 hours too long.
Yeah, I mean, it introduced us to Heath Ledger. I mean, that was great. But I don't know. I mean, I think he's just trying to get his name out in the public one more time.
He was in the Expendables 2, I think.
Expendables 3.
Expendables 3
was his latest big blockbuster.
Ooh.
I think it was Expendables 3.
Oh yeah, he also was. He did We Were Soldiers, which was great, but.
But nothing real big lately.
Nothing really in a while.
Okay, well, it's I can see what his point is. I mean, if you're going to spend $200 million on a movie, it's got to be fantastic,
right?
And it just hasn't been fantastic. So, PlayStation Pro has been officially announced by Sony. It's an interesting kind of a mixed bag, and so I want to let's go ahead and talk about this for a second. We're having way too much fun here after Robert's call talking about, we've now seen a website, federationofbeer.com. My God, federationofbeer.com.
Okay.
Wow, Syndicate Lager.
With Orion Animal Women. Yes.
Vulcan Ale, sure enough. Hey, how about that?
Must have that at my bachelor party.
Okay, so the PlayStation Pro has been announced. This one, the big difference, of course, between the PlayStation and the PlayStation Pro is the PSP 4 Pro, whatever you want to call it. The PlayStation Pro is now 4K compliant. A lot of TVs nowadays, I was at Best Buy over the weekend, just a couple days ago, and TVs are insanely cheap. 4K, unless you're going to go with like the ultra high def, highest end you could possibly go, TVs are insanely cheap. You can get a curved 4K TV for like less than $1,000. It's just incredibly cheap. So now that 4K is really starting to hit mainstream, this PlayStation Pro will be 4K compliant, and it'll still cost you $400, which was I'm pretty sure was the price of the original PlayStation 4. The PlayStation Pro will not have any exclusive games. You just take your PlayStation 4 games and you play it on the Pro. They do boast how awesome it is, how much faster it is. It will have a considerably more powerful GPU than the ones in the standard PS4. Also come with a standard 1 terabyte hard drive, faster Wi-Fi, and a third USB 3.1 Generation 1 port. In other words, it's going to be really awesome and cool. It's going to be faster, sleeker, smaller, more powerful.
Hold on. PlayStation released a game system where you can play the games from the previous game system.
Wow, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around that. Mind blown. Backwards compatibility in a PlayStation. That's unheard of.
That's never been done before.
Here's the other thing, though, is that you also cannot watch 4K Blu-ray discs on this, which is kind of weird, considering they're touting how awesome it looks in 4K, how the games will look so brilliant, and the frame rate has been increased, and it'll look just fantastic on your 4K TV, except you can't put a 4K disc in there and watch it.
What's the point?
So basically, the PlayStation Pro is a gaming console. Who'd have thunk it? Mm-hmm. Next thing you know, you're going to tell me that the iPhone is actually used to call people.
It is?
Well, no, of course not. Nobody uses it.
You take that back right now, sir.
I know. Nobody actually does that. They just tell Siri, call so-and-so. You know, you tell Siri to call, and Siri makes the call for you.
I thought it was just to check my Facebook.
Is to check your Facebook and go to GYGO Officials.
Bam! Check out the Get Your Geek On. I love it. Okay, so I have to admit, they could probably just do a firmware update somewhere down the road that'll make it 4K Blu-ray compliant. I have a 4K TV, and I've never watched a 4K Blu-ray movie, mostly because they're still pretty expensive. I think the cheapest one I saw was $35, and it was for like the new Clash of the Titans. Like, why am I going to watch?
When you can watch the original, which was way better.
Yeah, that little mechanical owl was awesome.
Yeah, Pegasus, Ray Harryhausen.
That was fantastic. Yeah. That was really good stuff. That and Jason of the Argonauts.
Oh, yeah.
With the stop-motion skeletons. Yes. Oh, man, that was much better than like half the movies I've seen lately. Mm-hmm. Oh, man, but that's been the big knock so far, has been that you can play 4K games in 4K brilliance on your TV, but you can't watch a 4K movie on there, which, okay, it's not that big a deal to me. It's just not. It's a gaming console. I understand a lot of people use it for a Blu-ray player, and I understand a lot of people stream on this, but I'm not going to get all worked up over it. I'm just happy that they announced it. It's going to be pretty cool. If you don't have a PlayStation, if you've been holding off on getting a PS4 for whatever reason, you should probably pick up the PS Pro then, because it's just better in pretty much every way. Mm-hmm. So let me give out the numbers again here. We're still taking calls at 210-308-8867 and 1-866-308-8867. This is the free-for-all segment, so you don't have to talk about Mel Gibson if you don't want to. You know.
And who would?
Come on.
Besides Danny Glover.
I'm getting too old for this stuff.
Oh, I knew that was coming. I could see that. Okay, there we go. You don't have to talk about the PlayStation Pro if you don't want to. You can talk about anything video gaming related or geeky related in general. That's more than fine. Go ahead and give us a call here, and we'll put you on the air, more than likely. Mm-hmm. I miss the old consoles. I still have a Super Nintendo. I'm not sure where the actual Nintendo is, but, I mean, some of the classic games were just fantastic.
I never got a game system as a kid. I had plenty of Star Wars figures and comic books to keep me occupied and busy.
But no, you didn't have a Nintendo?
Nope.
No Sega Genesis?
Nada.
Atari?
I had sticks.
You had sticks?
Sticks. We'd go outside and play with sticks and cardboard boxes and stuff. You know.
You watch the grass grow?
That and, well, I grew up in a small town. Come on.
How small of a town?
Like Tatooine small, you know.
The Tatooine's a planet, so that's kind of big.
It was the same atmosphere. It was not the same atmosphere. Well, it was West Texas, but still, it was hot as hell.
Okay, yeah, Tatooine and West Texas have an awful lot in common, so I can certainly understand.
But yeah, there was nothing to do in Del Rio.
Yeah, well, it's okay. Don't feel bad because there's still nothing to do in Del Rio, so it's okay.
Yeah, they've gained a Walmart, so they've grown up.
They beamed into Walmart?
They beamed into Walmart.
All right. Well, speaking of beaming into Walmart, we have Steven on the line here from San Antonio. Steven wants to talk Star Trek. Steven, are you ready to get your geek on?
Yeah, yes, I am.
Outstanding,
Hey, Dave.
sir.
Thanks for taking my call. First-time listener, first-time caller. The post office has 4 stamps this year for Star Trek, and the National Mint, I think it's called. They got 50-cent coins. You can see that at I think StarTrekCoin.com. It may be plural, Star Trek Coins, or I'm not sure. And the best movie was Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, where they saved the whales. It had lots of humor. Wrath of Khan was great. I liked the original series.
Yeah, everybody, there have been a lot of opinions about The Voyage Home. It's not my personal favorite, but man, the humor is just spot on, especially considering the last 2 movies, 2 and 3, were kind of dark in their tone. There were a lot of murder that went on, a lot of explosions, and this one was just, it kind of hit the funny bone.
It was the conclusion to the trilogy.
Yeah, it was. It was great. Steve, what was your favorite part about Voyage Home?
I guess when Scotty said he's talking to the computer and he sells that transparent aluminum to the guy.
Hello, computer.
Yeah, yeah. And also, a trivia question about or trivia fact, I guess, about the cage. What's that? The
first pilot.
Yeah,
the pilot.
Is that the first? The second pilot? Yeah. The person that played the keeper, or the literature says the keeper, but in the episode they call it the magistrate.
Mm-hmm.
That person was also in The Last Starfighter, as one of the people in the mobile home park there. The Last Starfighter is about a young guy that wants to leave home, and he meets an old guy that teaches him to be the ways of the galaxy and to be a fighter pilot.
I love The Last Starfighter. It is one of my all-time favorite movies. Gul Dukat and Wesley Crusher are in that movie, by the way.
Yeah, and it starts off the show.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, well, Wesley's not. He's one of the Lewis, the little kid, the little brother, is one of his friends. He runs across the screen once, but yeah, I think you're right. I'm trying to remember who he played. Who the magistrate was in Last Starfighter. It's
I think 2 of the 3 Telosians in the cage are played by women.
Yeah.
And the main one, the magistrate, is Meg Wiley, I believe, and she's credited as Granny, and she's another lady
Granny
there.
with the shotgun.
Is that right? I don't remember that part.
It is. I remember now. That's fantastic.
Yes.
Oh, very good. Very good call, Steve. I didn't know that before, I'll admit it, but man, I can see it now. I see it perfectly.
Oh yeah. You gave me your card tonight at the cage.
That's right. That's right. All right. Well, Steve, I want to thank you for taking the time and calling in here. Man, I didn't know that before.
Who would have thought?
That was awesome. Steve, thanks for calling in, man. That was Meg Wiley. Wow, who knew that? Okay, all right. Well, let's move on. Before we get too short on time here, Chris from San Antonio is calling in. Chris, we got a couple of minutes here, man. Are you ready to get your geek on?
Oh, yes, indeed.
All right. Well, hit me with it.
Well, I called about Star Trek, and I just wanted to essentially agree with you that, and this has been going on for decades, Paramount, CBS, regardless of what entities in control, routinely and as a matter of course, fail to capitalize on Star Trek's awesomeness. Now, it's funny, you compare the 50th anniversary to, I think it was the 30th or the 35th anniversary. We had a full-time 90-minute primetime TV special where they brought out all the cast and gave them special awards. And that was, that was for a 30th or 35th anniversary. And I had the same reaction upon doing, I assume we're seeing the same YouTube 50th anniversary video. I watched that and I thought, well, what happened to the most of Star Trek?
It's like they only took the most popular parts and just stuck with it instead of honoring the entire franchise. It really annoyed the crap out of me. It did.
It did me as well, and you're exactly right. Where they really dropped the ball is that they cut out the early years mostly. It seemed to be mostly the best of the movies, and with a particular emphasis on the 2009 reboot movies.
Yeah.
And so it was disappointing in that regard. Now, I will say, really, I understand we're running out of time. One area in Trekdom or Geekdom that has actually, I think, capitalized quite well on the 50th anniversary is Star Trek Online. I played the game. I've recently come back to it simply because of all the 50th anniversary stuff that's going on, and they're really throwing a lot of homage and a lot of props at the original 66 series now on Star Trek Online. You can fly the Constitution-class ship, wear the uniforms, walk the halls, and that's one of the areas where they've done a really good job.
I'm going to take a look at that. Oh, I'm sorry, Chris.
I just wanted to share that and, live long and prosper.
All right.
By the way, love the show. Just discovered you a few weeks ago. I'll be listening every Saturday.
Bam! A convert.
And catch up on the podcast at 9:30am.theanswer.com.
Thank you.
Oh, good to know about that. I've been assimilated.
All right. I love it. We've assimilated another one. That's awesome. All right, so that's going to be it. That's going to be all the time we have for right now. Sorry, we'll get to the Sarlacc Pit next week, I promise. Okay. That's the first time we did a live call of the show, and it went really well. I enjoyed it. Don't forget to check us out, like we said, on Facebook.com/GYGOofficial. Also, the podcast will be up. So make sure that you follow the podcast so you get that little notification that tells you that we're coming up. Don't forget to get your geek on every day. Stay geeky.